Hey, you've just stepped into the Caring Corner, where life's caregiving challenges meet a whole lot of heart and a dash of sass. I'm Mischelle O'Neill, and I'm here to serve up insights, inspiration, and real life tools to help you navigate caring for your kids and aging loved ones without forgetting about you. Expect everything from time management hacks and emotional wellness strategies to technology tips sprinkled with humor and tenacity. Are you ready? Let's get to it. Hey, and welcome to the Caring Corner. I'm Mischelle O'Neill, your host and resident emotional wellness coach. And I am so thrilled today to have with me a special guest, Theresa Horne, who is a personal trainer and a nutritionist. And you know how I love to keep care of this body, this special temple that we have, so that we can care and take care of those that we love in our family and others as well. So, thank you for being here on the Caring Corner. And this is on camera for those of you who would like to watch it instead of just listen. You can hop on over to YouTube and watch this episode of the Caring Corner. So, I'm going to bring Theresa on here so that we can just get started right into this. You know that I love having a conversation. So, Theresa, thank you for being here with us.
Thank
I
you for
know
having
I'm
me.
crazy. You're like, what is this girl talking about? But I am so thrilled that you are here with us today. Anything you'd like to say before we start?
Yeah, I'm excited to get started. Let's jump in.
Okay, so Theresa Horne is the CEO of Theresa Horne Coaching and the author of Kingdom Strong, a 30-day walking journal for health. She is also a certified personal trainer and a fitness nutritional specialist and soul care practitioner. Woo, can't talk today. I am so excited to have you here. That's why Theresa coaches people to live strong, body, mind, and soul to fulfill their kingdom purpose. And that's why I love talking to her and with her, because of where her focus is and what we're to do with our bodies, with our mind, and our soul to be all that we have been created to be. So, Theresa, thank you for being here. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for having me.
giving us a part of your time to share why it's so important to use our body and our mind and our soul for the purpose that we have been put here on this earth and created to do. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So I'm gonna let you go ahead and one of the things I want to do is I want you to talk a little bit about yourself, a little bit, and give us a little background of you. So can you share, first of all, a pivotal moment in your journey that led you to focus on health and the fact that health is actually for everyone, and why you became the health coach and personal trainer that you are, and how this has shaped your approach and your philosophy to life.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, thank you for having me. When we talk about pivotal moments, I think there are several that I think of, but I'll start with, especially because I will be 50 on March 15th. So,
No,
yeah.
no.
Yes.
You're
And
still a baby.
I started my health journey in earnest when I was about to, probably I must have been about 38, 39. So I was looking at 40. And I was, at that time, I was 330 pounds. So yeah, yeah. So, and I was active. We had young kids, I did stuff. We, did sports, and we would go to the Y and swim. So it wasn't like I was completely sedentary. If you had asked me at the time, I would have said we eat healthy. We were in a food buying co-op. So I had extra weight that I was carrying, and I hadn't really super tried to lose weight because I kind of thought I was generally healthy. But I started to have pain in my knees. And so like when I would get down with the kids, my knees it'd be a little slow getting up. And I was watching my mom at that time, and she was playing on the floor with the kids. And then she got up, and she had less trouble getting up off the floor than I did. And
Wow.
I was looking at her and I thought, you know what? If I want to be able to get down on the floor with my grandkids one day, I'm going to have to do something about this weight on my body. And so for me, that started my journey. Like I was like, I'm going to have to lose weight. And that was the first time I had probably ever really been serious, super serious about weight loss.
Mm.
I had always thought you can be healthy at any size. And I still believe that today. But when we really understand what healthy habits are, if we have weight to lose, then the weight is going to come off. So if we're putting things in place that we think are healthy, and we are still morbidly overweight, that's a medical term. They use the word morbidly, but if we're considerably overweight, then we probably don't really understand what healthy is for us in that season. And so that was, I think, the first pivotal moment for me was realizing, okay, actually you need to focus on the weight loss component of this, and then going out and putting that together, figuring out what that meant for me in that season. And those are all really important things. I feel like, you have to have an understanding yourself, and then you have to understand what it means for you, because what it means for me is not the same as what it might mean for you. We are all different.
Exactly.
We're all created uniquely. And so, something that works for you might not work for me. It might not work for me to become a vegan. It might not work for me to decide I'm going to swim every day, but that doesn't mean there's not a strategy. God created us healthy.
Mhm.
So that means there's a strategy, there's provision for you to be healthy. The trick is to figure out what that is for you in the season of life that you're in. So, yeah.
Awesome. There are so many points that really jumped out at me when you were talking. And that one was that a lot of times we have to have those pivotal moments to actually make a change. Otherwise, we're not going to stick to it. We're not going to do it. And so we also have to have a why. And it's not a why based on someone else, but a why that's important to us. And I heard what you said, and it's so funny. People say, "Why am I still running up and down the stairs?" And we won't say how old I am, and why I'm still running around, walking, and doing this, and I won't slow down because I move like a bat out of what. So everyone, when I used to work, be at my old job, they used to watch me and they go, "There's Mischelle." They just knew from the back who was walking down the hallway. But all that to say, they would ask, "Why do you do this?" And I said, "Because I want to be able to get on the floor and roll around with my grandkids, because I want to be able to do the things that we want to do together without any hindrance and stuff." And my grandson now, he's how old is he? He's 18. And he'll go and he'll still, because I used to grab him and body slam him. he'll still he'll grab me now because I'm the shorter. He's 6'2". I'm the shorter, and he'll pick me up and he'll body slam, but he slams me on the bed. He knows. He said, "Come here, grandma." And but if I was overweight or if I was unhealthy, and it's not, that's my other point. If I wasn't, in this shape, he wouldn't have that fun and look forward to being with grandma or doing things with grandma. And then the other part that, and did you want to say something on that first? I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk.
Well, I mean, I think you hit upon something that's really good. Our culture is so focused on size and weight, and not really on healthy. If we, scroll on social media, we see all these images of what it's projected for us to feel like this is healthy, this is the ideal, this is what we should look like. And many of those people have done nothing to look that way. They look that way because that's their genetics. They look that way because it's altered for Photoshop. It's they're posing a certain way. They understand how to use angles. So we have these images in our head, and so we say, "Oh, I want to, I want to be just like that person." So we try all these things and we work really hard. And then when we don't have that image, we don't get that outcome, we get discouraged and we throw away the healthy things we were trying. Or worse yet, those people aren't healthy at all. And we try things that aren't healthy to try to get there. And so it's important that we look at what it's like for us. What does it mean for you to be healthy, to take the time to really look at that? It might not mean that you're 150 pounds. It might mean that you are healthy, but your size is bigger than what an Instagram model size would be, but you can run up to the top of a mountain. You can get on the floor with your grandkids. You can, run a mile if you need to. Things that actually matter. Your waist is not larger than your hips, because we know that when we carry a lot of weight around our waist, it's hard for our heart. So things that actually matter for outcomes of health, not matter for outcomes of pictures. So yeah, when you said that, I thought, yeah, that was a place to dig in.
And so here's another pet peeve of mine. I don't know if you run into it. A lot of times we feel that we have to be overweight to be unhealthy, and that is a fallacy.
Right.
You can have eating disorder, you can have issues with food and with weight, but being on the small side. And I experienced that myself. I've always been on the smaller side. I won't say I've always been small, but I've always been on the smaller side. But I've always struggled with food and how I see myself. And
Yes.
so that's why when people are always talking about people being overweight, there are two sides to that coin. And so that's why I've learned to focus more on the health side of it. I mean, right now I have a game of Twister upstairs, and I played it with my grandkids, trying to teach them how to play Twister. They couldn't even do it. I outbeat them. I could twist in more more ways than they could. And they're like, "Grandma, this is hard." And I'm like, "No, come on, let's do this." And so it's more about, like you said, the health and the food. And my biggest struggle for me is with the food. And so I've learned the things that I had to put in place so that I didn't fall trap to the food. I mean, one of my hardest things, and I'm sure you'll speak to this, is when you go away and you're around family and everybody else has a way of eating, you fall into their way of eating when you're around them. And it's really hard to stay on track to what you want to do, because the foods that you would normally have at your home aren't available, or you're traveling on the road and all you see is fast food, Chipotle. But anyway, so,
We were talking about yesterday.
see, I know I can always go there and get a salad and
Yeah.
have good, healthy food on it. The
Yeah.
meat that I want for those who eat meat, and the vegetables that I want. So, you find what fast food places, Wendy's got their baked potato back. And so are you, yes. And so I just get a baked potato with chives and I'm good. I don't need the butter. I don't need the sour cream, just a baked, because my body is craving some carbohydrates at that time.
Right.
Um,
That's awesome.
so I want to dive in. Girl, I told you I can talk on this forever. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so let's dive a little deep. I want to go a little deeper, and based on some of the things we've said, and considering the challenges that women face, especially my women. They're juggling their generational caregiving. So they're trying to be there for their husband, they're taking care of their kids, they're taking care of parent or another older loved one, and then they're still working.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so they have their personal ambitions and their professional responsibilities. So what common obstacles do you feel that they encounter when it comes to their health and their wellness? And with that, common obstacles, when you tell us about them, could you suggest some strategies for actually overcoming these challenges?
Absolutely. I think one of the main challenges that I hear and I've experienced myself too is time, right? Like having enough time. And the thing is, we all have the same amount of time. It's really about how we choose to allocate that time. And as caregivers and things, I think for I'll speak for myself, but many of the women that I work with echo this is we enjoy caring for others, right? Like it's not, there's times where it feels like a task, but for the most part, we actually enjoy that. It's a part of how we express love to the people around us.
Yes.
So we want to do that, right? And then if
Mhm.
we have this um, juxtaposition of deciding if I'm going to care for others or if I'm going to care for myself, we tend to think care for others. I can figure it out. I can work it out on the end, because I'll speak for myself. I tend to be like, I can fix that, on my side, I'll fix it. I can do this for them, on my side, I can make the adjustment.
Mhm.
But the reality of it is, when we fly, we see this every time. The stewardess will let us know that when there's danger on the plane, if the oxygen goes down, you put the mask on yourself first
Yep.
before you help the other people. And we know that, we've seen that, but the truth of actually walking that out is something we have to learn. And it takes, for me, it's taken like this really almost forcing myself to do it before I really actually grasped the reality and the depth of how much it matters. The fact is, and I'll just be blunt, the fact is, if we die prematurely, this thought we had that we're helping the other people is a fallacy, right? It's not going to happen because we will ultimately, our health will suffer because we don't eat healthy foods, because we don't get enough sleep, because we don't prioritize our movement and do it smartly, because we don't, there are all these things that we know we can do to improve our health so we can then pour into the people who mean the most to us. And so we have to figure out how we're going to prioritize our health and in a way that works for us. So, that's two things. We have to understand what prioritizing our health is, and then
Mhm.
how do I, as an individual, put that into my life? So it really takes this looking at who you are as a person, what's
Mhm.
going on in your life right now, and then how do I implement it? It's not like I saw this article about runners, and I'm going to become a runner. That might not fit into your life. So we're working so hard to make this running schedule happen, but that's not what you're called to in this season. So you've got to take
Mhm.
a look at, okay, I end up usually having time on Wednesdays in the evening. Maybe that's when I can start, like really think about where you are and then make the plan on based in reality, not just like we see something or we get this idea. Really, where are you? And start there and build, because rarely we rarely jump into something and just it'll flow. We really need to build, and then we
Mhm.
can increase, and that's the healthiest way to make a habit anyway. It's to, build, start, and then build on top of something. Your body will respond better to changes like that, and it's more likely that you will stick with a change that happens that way.
Awesome. These are great insights to why we do the things we do and how to make them last in our lives. It's actually, and I hear you say it often, it's a lifestyle change. It's deciding that this is who I am and this is the best way to get there, to be the best me, to operate in excellence, to be who I've been created to be. And we are created to be healthy, like you said earlier. I mean, and so often we fall off that trail, and it's a daily battle, even for me. It is a daily battle because I rather have the fried chicken than the baked chicken. I mean, just that's how I grew up. But
Yeah,
I'm okay, and I've learned to find the joy in the chicken breast versus the chicken wing. Not saying, and it doesn't mean you have to totally give everything up.
right,
One, it's moderation, and two, it's convenience. How do you make convenience? So that's kind of where I want to go now. Is my ladies are busy, and you know that they're constantly taking care of each other, and like you said, the time is a factor. So I teach, and I'm a firm believer, is the time you have is the time you have. So how do you make it work for you?
right.
And I think just recently I did an episode actually on the fact that how do you get daily practices. I just talked about the morning, but how do you make daily practices in your day? And sometimes it's setting up the night before, making yogurt bowls that have the fruit and the granola in it already, so all you have to do is grab and go, and all the kids have to do is grab and go. But how do you do these things in your life? How do you get the exercise in? Hey, have you pushed a vacuum lately? You know, that's some good work. That's a good workout. So, mopping that floor, even if it's a wood floor, if you do it, that can be a good workout, and you can put weights on your legs or whatever. So these are the things that I want you to speak to. We're eager, all of us, my ladies, that's what I call them, my ladies. We're eager to hear about any specific strategies or tools or practices that you recommend that could significantly aid our listeners in their quests for balance and emotional wellness amidst, in the middle of all their multifaceted roles, because they do have a lot. I mean, even what they can do at work, at lunchtime, whatever, but some practice or something that can help them emotionally and physically and just health wise. So I'm going to turn this over to you.
Yeah. So I think there's so many ideas that popped into my head when you were talking. One trick that I like to suggest is that when we're talking about building habits, is to build a new habit on top of a habit that you already have. So
Mhm.
you mentioned lunch, and lunch I feel is a great place to build onto a habit. So most of us are in the habit of having lunch, even if we don't take lunch, kind of like that 12 o'clock noon, there's a break that is built into our days, and to take 30 minutes to take a walk. And if you can do that outside, you'll get double duty because you'll get the exercise component. But being outside is really great for our mental health. We get the vitamin D, fresh air. So but it's really good for our mental health. So if we could build that habit of taking a walk outside at lunchtime, so whether or not you eat lunch at lunchtime, but if you take a walk in the middle of the day, that's a really good strategy to implement.
Oh,
So,
girl, preach. I just had to say that. Preach.
so building habits on top of habits. You spoke briefly about the morning, the first thing in the morning. That's another good place to build a habit. For me, building the habit of working out as soon as I wake up was a great
Mhm.
place for me to build a habit. I
Mhm.
struggled with working out at the end of the day. Like, some people it
Okay.
works really well, but they're like, end of my work day, then I go straight and I work. Yeah, that didn't work for me.
Mm-mm. Me
So the
neither.
for that habit of first thing in the morning, you work out. And that
Mhm.
consistently, you'll find if you look at the research, that is a great habit for people who are successful. And it's not because successful people are necessarily better at exercise, but it's because it's the first thing in the day. It's the time that makes the difference. And the reason that is because if you do something at the front of the day, you have more control of where your day goes, right? Like if you're doing
Focused.
something at 5,
Mhm. Mhm.
somebody might, this might happen, that might happen. If it's 6 a.m., it's not that likely that somebody's going to be requesting your time, unless your kids are really small. But that's how I ended up getting up so early. I would be up before everybody else, before everyone else needed me, and that would be my time. And that's been my habit for the last almost 10 years. It's
Wow. Girl, I
been able
commend you. Yes.
but I've been able to be consistent with it because it's a habit. And so those are two movement habits I would suggest. We talk about food. I remember, you made me think of a story. I remember a time in my life, and it must be, yes, probably almost 20 years ago, but I remember telling my friend I was so hungry and there was nothing, so I had to eat McDonald's. And and she was like, I would never eat McDonald's. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, everybody eats McDonald's. Like, everybody, I really thought everybody ate McDonald's. Like maybe you don't do it all the time, but everybody does. And that idea that no, some people say no to that all the time, just it was inconceivable to me. And so it's about choices though, right? Like most of us in the United States, if we turn down a meal, we are not going to starve to death. And literally, that kind of blows your mind when you think about it. When you are hungry and you're like, the only choice is French fries and fried food, and you're like, I have to eat. You talk yourself into this idea that I have to make this choice when it's not true. Like
Mhm.
you can skip a meal and you won't perish. I, for me, that was like a really, it was like, Mischelle, I'm telling you, I was like, I could actually just wait till I got home. You know what
Oh, no,
I mean?
I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that get a headache when you haven't
Yeah,
eaten in a while, and my husband will look at me. We'll be driving, and he'll
uh-huh,
go, "What's wrong?" I said, "I got a headache." He said,
mhm.
"What do you want to eat?" Because
So
I
the
get
and
hangry,
this is what
hangry.
and this is what I say to that. The thing about that is if you put yourself in a situation where the only thing to eat is fast food and you get hangry, you do that enough and you realize, okay, you know what? I'm not going to put myself in that situation again. I'm going to
Well,
make choices. And that's what you're saying. You have
yeah.
done. I know I can get a baked potato at Wendy's. I know I can find a Chipotle. You've done the work to figure out what else you're going to do. And then we just, it's the thing is we have to understand this doesn't have to be my choice. I can figure this out. I can figure out a strategy where I don't have to put myself in the situation where the only thing is McDonald's or the only thing is this other unhealthy choice. I'm going to figure out where the healthy places are. I'm going to make sure that there was a season where I used to carry a bag that was lined, and I had cheese sticks in there. I had, I used to carry food with me because
I do.
I didn't have the willpower at that time
Mhm.
to go to Wendy's and make a healthy choice. If I was going to Wendy's, I was eating something I had no business eating. So I was carrying food with me at that time until I got to the place where I could be like, okay, you know what, I can go there and I'll make these choices. I think you spoke about moderation and it's important. Yes, moderation is important, but we have to understand that we're not all at the place where we can moderate.
True.
Sometimes we need to be in a place where we're saying no, until we build up for me, it was build up the capacity to pass up things. There was a season where I had to say no to cake because I
Yeah.
didn't moderate cake. If I ate cake, I ate lots of cake.
Oh,
So there was,
potato chips.
yes, potato chips, right?
Potato
Yes,
chips.
I had to learn to moderate, so there was a season where it was no. It was,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna eat that right now. I don't like the idea of saying I'll never eat that. Like that's me and God. We got to that where I was like, I don't, if I say I'm never going to eat something, then I'm going to be thinking about that something.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there are no foods that I'm like, I'll never eat, but I
But
will rarely eat them, but I am choosing that. And so that's about choices and moderation. That's a whole thing that I had to walk through with God, like understanding, yes, all things in moderation, but sometimes that means no.
but think about this. And when you were talking, this hit me because I'm a blueberry girl. That's my candy of choice.
Hmm.
I've made it my candy of choice. And so if you can find a fast food, you can find a grocery store. You ever think
Yes.
about that?
Yes.
If
Yes.
you can find a fast food, you can find a grocery store, and that grocery store has fruit.
They do.
And then the other thing that popped in my mind is you're talking about taking stuff with you. We do too. When we travel, I have a packed bag full of stuff. And even I love crunchy stuff. So Smart Pop, even though it's not the best, that's my crunch of choice. But
Yes.
with that said, think about it growing up. And I know it was money wise. Our parents took food when we
They
got on a road trip.
they
That
did.
food was in it, whether it was a sandwich or whatever, they
Yeah.
had food with them. So why can't we do it now?
Exactly. Exactly. I know we can do it now, right? It takes that planning on our side to plan that out and to just take a little bit more time. But we absolutely can do that now. And there's so many amazing options that we can, have. We can take salads. We can take, you talked about the grocery store. I've run into the grocery store and got a yogurt. And, luckily now lots of grocery stores have food that they sell. So they'll
Yeah.
have spoons even, like, so
Mhm,
I'll
mhm.
grab a yogurt, grab a spoon, and, have something like that. So there are so many options for it to be convenient for us. It just takes kind of, I think for me, it took changing my thoughts around, what to eat and how, and, kind of building new habits around all of that, because a lot of the habits we've picked up, we got them when we were kids, so
Right, right, right. Mhm.
we have to look at those things and kind of, and that's why I feel like it's important to look at where we're at in the season of life that we're in, because something that worked for you when you were in your 20s is going to be different than 30s, is going to be different from 40, 3,
Mhm, mhm.
season of your life that you're in. If you're working full time and you've got kids in high school and you're going to games, that's one thing. If you've got, if you're caring for your parents, and you might have little kids and your parents, that's another. There's all these different things that go into how we live our lives. So we need to look at the strategies that we're using to be healthy through that lens of what my life looks like right now, so
Right.
that's really important.
And when you were saying that and you were telling the different areas of our life, one of the things I thought about is you also have to take in consideration with your nutrition is the eating habits or allergies or all these things that because someone older wants softer food or they can't, so you have to think, what can I fix that's soft and they can grab? Oh, and the kids want this child has gluten intolerance and this one can't eat peanuts
Yeah.
and this one. So you're thinking of all this while you're preparing, and that's why it's so important to pre-prepare
Right.
because then you have these things ready when you hit the road or whatever, or when you go to a game, because when you go to the game it never fails, somebody's hungry.
Yes.
And so so, so
Absolutely.
you have this stuff, and when they want that hot dog that man is selling, and they can't have that bread that's with that hot dog, hey babe, I got this for you here, you
Hmm.
know
Yeah, that you speaking, that's actually our house. I do have one who has gluten sensitivity and peanut sensitivity, and it does take planning. And I remember when he was younger, it was a lot easier to control, because I would say, "Hey, babe, I got this for you," and he would be like, "Yay!" As he got to his teens, he was not. They want to
yeah.
eat what everybody else is eating.
Mhm.
So that's it's goes to the seasons of life, and navigating all of those different things. The way that I've decided to, we prep our food, and I
Mhm.
say prep. I think when people think meal prep, they think little boxes and all that stuff, and that's we have five sons. So it's me and my husband and five sons, and then my mom. She doesn't live
Yeah.
with us, but she stays with us a lot,
Right.
and she stays over
Mhm.
and eats with us. So the way that prepping in little boxes, It wouldn't make sense for us. But
Right.
the way that I prep food is I prep our protein, I prep vegetables, and I usually prep like a grain. So, maybe rice or, a sheet of sweet potatoes, something like that. And then we build different meals with those quantities, those
I
things that I
like
prep.
that.
So, like one
Yeah.
thing I might prep is like chicken breast. I love the summer where my husband can grill because I'll have him, prep large quantities of meat. So we have a protein. So, you know, um, we might have Caesar salad with chicken breast one day, or we
Mhm.
might have chicken wraps one day, but that chicken is the thing that was prepped. And so I probably am not going to eat the wrap because I don't eat gluten either.
Mhm.
So, but I may make a salad with the chicken and they can have a wrap with the chicken, but the base, that chicken is prepared. So we
Mhm.
don't all have to eat exactly the same thing, but there's a similar base. Like think of the same thing with spaghetti. I would prep a large quantity of meat sauce. I'm not going to eat spaghetti, but I have, when we first started going gluten free, we would make regular noodles with, that have gluten, and then we make gluten free noodles. But that base of the
Mm.
meat sauce would be the same thing.
No zoodles?
You know what? I tried that. I did not. And this is love that you brought that up because it's good. It's a good example of that strategy didn't work for me. So many
Okay.
people they're like, yo, zucchini noodles. I was like, you know what? I don't really care for them like that. I just rather eat the meat sauce. Like y'all can save all that part, but it's a great strategy, right? But had I
Mhm.
been like, I gotta eat these, this is the only way to do this, it wouldn't have worked. So I had to
Right.
understand that's not for me. That's great for other people, but that strategy isn't for me. So, yeah, if thinking about prepping, not necessarily little boxes of food, but quantities of food that you can use for different things, that's
Right.
going to save you time. So, your protein, boiled eggs. Boiled eggs is another one. If you prep boiled eggs, you can do so many things with boiled eggs. So, having that prepared, and so you can quickly put something together. So, you think like, we're running late, we got home late from a basketball game, we should just run to McDonald's or run to a fast food restaurant. No, I've got chicken prepped at home. We can make chicken quesadillas. That takes like
Mhm.
5 seconds,
Mhm.
put the chicken and the cheese and melt it. That takes like 5 minutes. That's
Chicken
just
tacos.
yeah, so you have these things that you've prepared that help you stick to eating healthier, which is, what we want to do.
And when you're on the go, one of the things I like is, and I look at what they put in it but rotisserie chicken.
Yeah,
And because sometimes you don't have the time to roast a chicken.
yeah,
But that rotisserie chicken can be 3 to 4 meals throughout that day, whether it's chicken salad and, like you said, all the other things, chicken enchiladas, chicken whatever. And it's
right.
already wonderfully flavored and the grease has rolled off of it. So
Yeah.
there there are ways that we can find ways to make things happen. But I want to hit this one more question
Okay.
on a more personal note. What is the one piece of advice that you wish that you had received earlier in your journey? And how would it have changed your path?
Let's see. I think, uh, I think the one piece of advice that I wish I would have received is, and it's a hard one. It's hard to even say. It's like you have to prioritize your health and you have to do it for you. And you said it, but I think like that takes like a sinking in that has to happen because I hear it a lot. People are like, oh, I'll have married women who want their husbands to join them, or if I can get my best friend to join me, it'll be better. We're wanting to bring someone with us. We're wanting somebody, if we could do this together, if we can start this diet together, if we can work out together, and that, yes, That would be awesome.
Mhm.
But the fact is, the likelihood that you'll have the same level of commitment together is rare. And I know everybody's like, oh, but it's true. You have got to commit for yourself. Because if you don't, there are going to be times where your well meaning friend is not going to want to do it.
Mhm.
Your husband, who was started out super committed, is not going to want to do it. Yes, invite them, but you've got to decide and make the commitment for yourself. And I feel like that if I had learned that earlier, it would have been a lot easier.
Wow. That's good stuff. The thing that really hit for me there is my husband and I have been married for over 32 years. And we've been working out together for 33 years.
Mhm.
And there have been points where I've been at the ebb and he's been at the flow and vice versa.
Yeah.
But we still he's what keep me going. The other day we worked out and he says, "How was your workout?" And I said, "Good." He says, "What? I got a good from you?" Because I was like, I'm always like, it was okay. Because I I'm gonna be honest, I hate working out and I always have, but
Mhm.
I know it's what I need to do, so I do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it to do it, but you're
Correct.
doing it because it's what you need to do in order to be where you want to be.
Mhm.
And so he is my encouragement,
Mhm.
but he's not the only reason that I go work out. And he isn't a must have. If he's sick, I can still go work out. If I'm sick, oh baby, go. You can work out. And there are
Mhm.
times that I love walking. And there are times that I will go walking and he doesn't walk that much anymore because of the pain he gets in, his leg or whatever. But but you know what? And I have to say this. We went on a cruise together and
Oh.
every day he walked with me because he knew that was something I wanted to do. And he made that commitment with me. And so
That's
that makes it more fun, but neither one of us are dependent on the other to keep taking care of our health, whether it's food or whether it's our bodies. And I just
yes.
needed to say that.
That's and it's beautiful. I there have been times where I've been able to work out with my husband super consistently. He has the diagnosis of an autoimmune condition.
Mhm.
So and that's a whole different story. But the reason he was able to know is because we were consistently working out, and he could tell that there was something different in his body. But there have been times where, we've been really super consistent and we've been on it together. And then there's been times where he's kind of like not so consistent. But had I been like, oh, well, I'm gonna, not be, it really does take that. Um, you have to decide for yourself. And, it's your story is so encouraging and beautiful. I think that sometimes people get too enamored with that story and they want that for themselves, and like we're not all going to get it. You know
Mm-mm.
what I mean? We're not all going to be billionaires. We're not all going to have that story, like, and we think of that, we but if we're waiting for that, to start, then we're not going to get there. The reason my husband started working out again is because I was consistently working out. And he'll tell the story. He was like, I was like, I need to go up in the gym and see what she doing. Like, and so that got him up to go, right? Had I not
Right.
had
Well,
I
well,
not been consistent, he probably wouldn't have went. Yeah. So
but I just want to say to back up on our story, both of us were working out before we met each other. It wasn't we all of a sudden met each other and started working out. That was
mm,
part of our daily life before
beautiful.
we even met each other. And it was just something that we decided since we both uh, felt the importance of it
Mhm.
that we would do it together. and it would be a place for us to strengthen our relationship. So it
Yes.
really had nothing to do with us deciding to work out because we were married. It was a practice and a habit that we had before.
Right.
So
And a habit with benefits, I'll say. I mean, we can throw that in there because working out with your spouse does help all types of chemistry. Right?
all right, let me behave myself. Sorry. G
Yeah.
rated. No. So,
Yeah.
there is so much we can talk about, and there's key takeaways that I want to get into. But before we do that, and I'm totally off script, but that's okay. Give me one. I'm just going to hold you to one exercise that we can do, that we can push in, even if we only have 5 minutes or 3 minutes, that we can do to energize ourselves and to shift our mindset and get grounded. That's it.
Ooh, okay. Energize ourselves, shift our mindset, and get grounded. There's so many exercises.
It's got to be one we can do quick. It's
This is
got to be one we can do quick.
really quick. So I would say then, I tend to be a squats girl. So I
Mm.
would say squats. And to
Ooh, I feel the pain already. Go ahead.
how about,
Woo.
yeah, squats is gonna be my answer. And I'm gonna say like not a squat, you think squat, air squat, but like a chair.
Mhm.
So choose a chair, like a chair, dinner table chair, and this is gonna have lots of benefits. So this is the one. So sit in a chair, stand up, don't hold on to the sides, don't hold on to anything, but like kind of have your arms up, or you can do this, but sit, stand. Give me 10 of those, right? Because
Ooh.
that's going to give you all the benefits, because some of us are going to sit in that chair with our arms like this, and we're going to realize we can't stand without
Mhm.
help, right? So then they're going to have something that they can build up to. Some of us are going to do that, and we're going to, you're going to be able to find out things about your body, about the shape that you're in from that sit to stand. So I think your goal is going to be 10. If you can't do 10, that gives you information. If you easily do 10, then you're going to know, okay, I could be doing more. If you're at the level where you can already do 10 sit to stands, then you should know that you need to be doing more to build onto that, because exercise is progressive. If your
Okay.
muscles are at a certain place and you keep them there the same, doing the same exercise routine for the last 5 years, you're going to get atrophy. Your muscles have to progress. You have to do more. And that doesn't mean you have to do crazy things. You have to do different things that progress the muscles. I was doing a plank today, and I was, okay, I decided to add a leg raise to it. And it was like, I can do a 60-second plank easy, but I added these leg raises and I was like, and I was like, it's not about adding crazy things, because we see people
Mhm.
doing all types of, it's not about adding crazy things. It's about progressing the movement in a way that's really smart. And I know your listeners are smart women. So
Mhm.
don't think I've got to do this crazy, I've got to join this crazy. You don't have to do crazy things. You need to be smart about your movement and just continue to be smart. So not crazy, smart and consistent.
I'm when we get off of this podcast here, I'm gonna try those squats from the chair. And I know how hard it is, but then I'm competitive. So it's like, how many can I get done? Can I do all 10? So that was one thing. But what's so amazing about this is you can do it with the kids as a competition. You can
Yes.
do it with your aging loved one, with your parent, by just being there, giving them your hands and
Yeah.
allowing them to rise and sit,
Yeah.
rise and sit. And that, oh my gosh, I could just see this. I'm going to use this in one of my lives or something, because this
Please.
is an amazing exercise. We gotta talk offline so you can give me some more. So
Okay.
but this
Okay.
this is great, and I could see that. And then when you were talking about challenging yourself, I wanted to go, no, 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 because because I am good for 5 pound weights. That's all I can do. And it's like, look, I'm at 40 already. I think I probably need to go go
Yeah.
up,
Yep.
so just 5 pounds more, to give yourself a little push, a little resistance. That's the word I
Persistence.
was
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is good for me. And so I just want to thank you for being here today. This has been an amazing, amazing podcast day here. And I want to say we talked about one, doing this for yourself.
Mhm.
It has to be for yourself, and you have to know your why. Why are you doing this?
Right.
And then I'm trying to think what else really stood out to me. And the simple exercises that you can do, and the way we can make the shift in our eating. And that if you have a struggle with a specific food or something, remove it for now. Don't
Yes.
make yourself struggle with it. If you know it's a struggle that you really can't win right now,
Right.
take it out of the way.
Absolutely.
And anything else that I forgot that you think they really need to get from this episode?
I think that loving others is caring for yourself first. Because we struggle with,
Exactly.
feel like we struggle with that guilt, and the best way to love others is to prioritize our health. So just remember that if when you're choosing, like, I feel guilty about going to work out, that's the best thing you can do for your loved ones is to take care of yourself.
Oh, and if they have an issue, say, "Do you wanna come with me?" Oh, they'll quickly go, "No, you go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy." I'm telling you. If you ever wanna get rid of someone, tell them, offer to take them with you when you work out. So
Yeah.
that's all it is. Look, Teresa, I have so enjoyed our time together. I just want to thank you for being here with us today. If you don't know where you are on the Caring Corner, and we're talking about why health is for everyone, right?
Yeah,
So,
it
health
is.
is for everyone. So thank you again for being here with Mischelle O'Neill and our special guest, Theresa Horne, as we talk about your health and how you can make your caregiving journey, because you're always caring, whether it's with an aging loved one or your kids or your husband. You are a caregiver because you give so much. Thank you for being here with us. Take care. See you next time. Bye
Bye bye.
bye. All right, that's a wrap for today at the Caring Corner. We've tackled some big topics, but remember, you're not in this alone. Subscribe to keep the wisdom and warmth coming. And stay tuned for amazing guests who'll be joining us to help round out your caregiving toolkit. Catch you next time and keep conquering those challenges.